Are you struggling with how to price your handmade items? I've got a perfect solution for you. Before we jump exactly to the pricing sheet itself, I would like to explain you the methodology of how you should price yourself. Please, if you heard ever about material multiply 2 pricing, forget about it. It's definitely not something that you should go for, at least from my personal point of view. So what you should as a first thing consider when it comes to your pricing is, of course, the material cost. Okay, this is the material cost, the package cost. I'm not talking here about shipping cost. It means like you bought envelope, you put some filling there, you bought the carton boxes, and so on. And the third, the most important, work. What does it mean? You need to charge yourself. How much minutes, hours, whatever it took you to create that certain project. And that's not everything. So we have material cost, we have package cost, and we have work labor. Let's call it that way. Okay, those three together, you should sum it up, simple way. And that's not it. You need to place a margin. You need to place also tax. So you need to place plus margin percent, plus sales tax or VAT tax percent, and then you have your final price. I have created simple spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, where you can simply place all your numbers and all the magic happens and everything is calculated automatically, and suddenly boom, like this, and you have your final price. So let's go check it out. I have designed for you a pretty simple pricing sheet that you can use. So you are going to open it in your Microsoft Excel, and basically the first sheet is exactly the instructions. So what you should do before you will start pricing your items, okay? So as a first thing, we are going to the data tab. In the data tab, first you will start updating your yarn. So simple, you will place here your brand name as an example of the yarn. You will place how much it is per skein of yarn and how many grams it is. Basically only to here, here, and here. You will place all the information and here the comments. Please do not touch basically this column, this highlighted column. It is automatic calculation. What is the price per gram? We will need it later on. Okay, so this is when it comes to the yarn. Now then you will update your packages. Then you will place yourself here how much you want to earn per hour. First thing, you need to basically update your data sheet. And this is something that you need to do once, maybe once a quarter if the prices are changing or adjust. This is not something that you need to do every single time when you are going to place your or price your item. Then you will go to your welcome sheet, so down here. And here you need to place just two information, so your general margin that you want to place and what is your tax. Then once I updated this, I am going to my price list. And here we go. So here is exactly where you will place all the information needed. Okay, so first I am going to basically explain the general idea and then we will go exactly to concrete product. So this is how the whole table looks like. So actually here under this plus sign you have some hidden columns that is purely for the calculations. So basically you don't need to worry about them because everything is automated. So basically you have it split between two parts. One part that you will be filling the data and one part where you won't be touching. Now I am going to a little bit zoom it out so then you can see more what I am doing right now. Okay, so let's imagine I want to price a new product. It will be under category amigurumi. It will be, for example, koala. Now the type of yarn. So you see here immediately when I went to that sheet, I got the possibility of selecting what type of yarn, and this is super important. So here you don't type the specific brand. Why? Because when we were placing here, so every time you have a new yarn, you first need to place it into the data sheet, so then it's visible in your price list. Okay, because if I will try to type whatever, I will get a pop-up window. Okay, it's on the purpose so then all the formulas are working properly. So now I know I am using, for example, again Alize. Now how much grams I am using for this specific project. So let's imagine I use 150. Now when it comes to fiber fill gram, here it's basically you need to weight it more or less, but basically you can, you don't need to, it's really up to you. So for example, let's keep 10 grams. Number of pair of eyes, 1 pair of eyes, of course. Did I place something on top? If I would just place here, I don't know, €5. I place altogether for some additional accessories. So here you are placing directly the euros itself that you place on top if something comes up. Then time, this is very important. Imagine my koala takes around 90 minutes, more or less. I would need definitely packages. So imagine I am now releasing this koala and I want to sell, I don't know, I'm just guessing, like within the first day or two of my launch, 5, okay? I'm just basically making it up, okay? So I placed everything up here and now all the rest is calculated automatically, okay? So I'm not touching everything. This 30% margin is the one that I placed in my welcome, okay? So then this is my net price, but of course I need to charge the final price. So the final price is €43 for my koala. And basically that's it. So if you would count without me not talking a lot about it, so you can very quickly, within few seconds, price your item. You just need to know what type of yarn you used, how much you used, and how long it take you. Then I will go to price simulation, okay? And here I would place again. So again, here we have several basically clusters, let's call it that way. First is material cost. Again, here you will fill only this part. You do not touch this one, where it is do not fill. And what I can see here, and this is where I am playing. So I would first place the material cost. I would then place shipping cost, the same way as I showed you. And then I would place simple labor cost. Here you will place this information for your dedicated product. And now the fun starts. First, you will place, so when you have all the columns that you have up here with the blue, you are placing the numbers, okay? Up here, you are not touching it. And you will even see that there is something written in the cell, okay? If you click on it here, it's just the number. Here, it's some whatever formula, okay? So, here you have as a first, a simulation for one product. So, for example, I want to have 50% margin on this product, and you will see what would your final price will be, what will be the cost, net price, and gross profit margin. Okay, if I would want to tune it down, because 50% margin I might think it's quite big, I would place just 30%, and you see all the numbers are recalculated automatically. Okay, here the 19%, this is something that you can't change or play around. This is something that you need to place your products on, at least here for myself. Then you have a simulation for goal products. So here we are, for example, talking the same like we did in our pricing list, that we place how many koalas I want to basically sell. So for example, 5, and I will see how much I would basically need. Now the numbers are a little bit different because I didn't update, of course, my cost. And now this is interesting. Simulation for discount. Why? Because it happens also to me, like I am placing a discount, I don't know, I am over exaggerating 50%, and then I realize, but I earn nothing, okay? And this is how you can avoid that. So if I have 30% margin that I placed up here, tax I can't change, and I will try to place 20% discount for, let's say, a week, as an example, I would have gross profit of €3. Okay, so you need to really think about how much you want to discount and for how long. Okay, if I will place 10% of the discount, it's €6.3 only. Okay, and this is but this is purely for one product we are talking about. Okay, so this is how you can place and play around for one single product. Okay, now let's move to the dashboard. And yes, before I forgot and continue, if you want to get this tool exactly that I am sharing with you, you can have the link down below where you can get the pricing sheet, so then you can go through all the steps with me. Now, when it comes to, basically we have here a sheet dashboard, okay? If you go there, you will see some information, but before you will start to read anything, every time you will start to read your dashboard, you need to do these 2 steps every time. You have it also in your instructions. You will go to your data sheet, to your data ribbon here, up here, and click on refresh all. And you see the numbers have changed. Why? Because of course, all up here is based on your price list sheet. So I have updated it with some information, okay? And therefore I see here some information. What information? So first here you see some expected turnover, okay? Here I have a digital and physical difference. To the digital one I will come later on. If you are selling the patterns, we have a dedicated Excel sheet for price digital. So here you see what could be your expected turnover digital versus physical. And basically up here, let me change here not to Alize but to different yarn, Apricot Chunky yarn, just to show you, and I will refresh. So every time you change something in your price simulation, you need to refresh the data. And you see now I have a chunky yarn. So what we have here, let me zoom it out a little bit. So what we have in this graph, you will see the split of cost for the specific yarn. This is one thing. Second thing that you see here, this is a split of costs as an next to it, and you see what is the, when it comes to the clusters. So we have a cluster for work, we have a cluster for material purely, and then we have a package price, okay? And then up here, what we have here you can little bit play around when you want to place different margin versus what you have placed in the welcome page. So for example, place your margin here, okay? So I want to place now 30%. How much turnover would it change if I would change for all the products that are in the price list? I would change the margin to suddenly 40%, for example. Okay, then my turnover would be this, my gross profit would be this, and per product goal, so it is summing out all the goals, I would have these numbers, okay? And what is here as a last thing is, let me zoom it again like this. Here you have some slicer, it's called in Excel terminology, so some filters. And okay, now it's basically not something, maybe change it here so then you can see this wouldn't be amigurumi, but let's say clothes, I don't know, just making this up. I change something in the price list, what should I do? Refresh all, and suddenly you see clothes is here. Wow, miracle. Okay, so this is something that if you want to zoom it out, so for example, if you have more product categories, for me I have amigurumis, I have clothes, I have handbags, I have many things. And for me, sometimes it's easier to go through the cluster of the products. So for example, I want to purely focus only on the clothes. I click the clothes and I see purely the numbers only for the clothes, okay? Up here as well. Now I want to see again back everything. I will just click on this here clear filter and you see the numbers has changed again. Then I want to see concrete product. For example, I know my bestseller is, let's say, koala bear. This is my bestseller. Let me have a look how much I am potential to earn, how much material I would use for it, and so on and so on, okay? So here you can basically play a little bit. It's not changing a much, basically, mainly here. But it's based on the data that you place there, of course. So this is how you can play a little bit with your dashboard. So I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. And if so, please don't forget to give a thumbs up and stay tuned for the more upcoming videos.